The story begins at a large house party, where a young man called Cole is frantically looking for his younger brother, Duckett, amid the chaos. Duckett locks himself in a room after hearing that his brother is acting out of control. A consequence of this is that he proceeds to forcefully open the door. He attempts to bring Duckett home after discovering him shirtless and injured while muttering to himself. Cole gets furious and shouts at everyone to stop recording the scene on their phones as soon as he sees it. However, Cole is abruptly stabbed by Duckett. Subsequently, he steps outdoors and suction applies his eye. Other partygoers were taken aback. The following scene takes place on the 17-year-old high school student Mia's, who is still grieving her mother's death second anniversary. Following the events of that day, she is upset with her dad, Max, and thinks her mom died of an accidental overdose. As a result, she avoids talking to him. Riley is dropped off at his friend's house by Mia. Her best friend Jade's younger brother is Riley. Ever since her mother passed away. When Mia is down and out, the only thing that can lift her spirits is her family, so she's been staying with Jade. Daisy and Jade find a social media gathering that teenagers are hosting. Joss and Haley. The partygoers are allegedly getting involved in some shady activities, according to rumors. As far as Mia's best friend Jade is concerned, it's all an act. Mia is eager to witness it firsthand. The fact that Jade's brother Riley and her boyfriend Daniel will also be attending is the sole reason she decides to go. They make their getaway to the party in silence. At long last, they reach the celebration. Daniel, who is dating Jade, is actually Mia's ex-boyfriend, and we meet him there. Although they were once romantically involved, they are now just friends. After a while, they are introduced to the popular game by Haley and Joss. Talk to Me is the name of the game. An embalmed hand with strange writing on it is the main attraction, and it comes from a medium. You won't have any trouble picking up the game. With a candle lit and the words "Speak to Me" spoken, you place the embalmed hand in your hands. Only the one holding the hand can see the enchanted object, which is meant to call upon a spirit or demon. The moment that person says, "I let you in," a demon takes up residence in their soul. Mia offers to be the one to be possessed by raising her hand. To avoid the spirits from becoming attached to that individual, the host, Haley, warns her that the connection must be severed within 90 seconds by extinguishing the candle. Initially startled, Mia holds the embalmed hand and says, "Speak to me." Then she sees the spectral figure of an elderly man. After being reassured by Haley, Jade is willing to allow me to carry on with the game. As Mia continues to hold the hand, the horrifying image of a strange-looking woman appears before her. Haley tells her to tell him, "I let you in, this time." Further, the moment she says it, the soul gets inside of her. As time goes on, she begins to behave erratically, her voice creepy and menacing. Riley, Jade's younger brother, is the one she singles out as having a crush on her. The door opens with a creak at the 83-second mark, and just before the 92-second mark, Joss tries to pry me away from his hand. However, Riley is admonished by the demon, who refuses to release his grip and urges her to flee. Even though it's past the 90-second mark, Haley and Josh are able to cut Mia's connection with the spirit in the end. Riley approaches Mia after they get home later that night and wants to know how it felt to be possessed by the spirit. Mia says it felt amazing. As she grinned, she was able to perceive, hear, and feel everything. Daniel, Jade's boyfriend, decides he wants to experience possession like Mia does because it is so fun. They will be doing this that night at Jade's house, as Haley agrees to Jade's request. At Jade's house, everyone is waiting for Haley and Joss to start the game of spirit summoning. Daniel recites a prayer while sitting in front of the preserved hand. "If you want to know what possessed him, just talk to me." Worse yet, as Daniel is humiliating Jade and making him feel aroused sexually, whoever or whatever is possessing him insults him. Daniel affectionately licks Jade's dog's mouth as he approaches. As soon as they see this, the other teens are so horrified and delighted that they quickly extinguish the candle. But since nobody is happy with the results, they decide to try again later that night. Luckily, Sue, Jade's mom, isn't around tonight. As soon as Riley requests a turn. No, Jade responds coldly. This game is too risky for someone his age, and everyone else agrees. Riley and Jade get into an argument, and Jade briefly exits the room. Riley then implores MIA to reconsider her decision. MIA then advises Riley to try it, but only for half an hour. Not your typical 90. After hearing this, the youngster is so enthralled that he agrees to undergo the procedure. As soon as Haley starts the timer, the boy becomes possessed as he recites his lines. Riley seems to be possessed by Mia's mother, who passed away, which surprises everyone. And initially, things get rather heated. The things Mom is saying about how much she misses her are touching and genuine. Although Mia's peers are eager to end the call after 50 seconds, she begs her mom to let her continue the conversation. As the clock runs out. As a group, the other teens try to disconnect. However, things go downhill from there. Suddenly, Riley's controlling spirit becomes aggressive, smashing his head against the cabinet. After much struggle, Jade and the others succeed in removing Riley's hand from his grasp. Riley is transported to the hospital in a hurry because he is critically injured and requires urgent medical treatment. When the cops show up to look into the incident, everyone is stunned and utterly bewildered. Feeling bad about letting Riley come along, MIA makes the decision to go back to her dad's house with all of her possessions. Jade and Sue reject Mia's visit to Riley's hospital room, accusing her of being responsible for Riley's condition. Mother Sue warns her daughter to call the police if she comes back, and she tells me to leave. She notices her mother's reflection in the window just before she leaves. She follows the mother figure to the restroom, where she overhears her mom pleading for assistance. However, there is no one in sight when she peeks inside. In the aftermath of this peculiar event, MIA begins to spend more time with Daniel, her ex-boyfriend. Plus, Mia's feelings for Daniel are still very much present. Despite Daniel assuring MIA that Riley's spirit wasn't her mother, MIA is convinced that her mother is trying to get in touch with her. Later that night, while Daniel is sound asleep, a terrifying dream jolts MIA awake. Out of nowhere, he witnesses the specter of a long-dead woman approaching Daniel and sucking on his foot. Angry and desperate, she yells at him to open his eyes. What surprises Daniel, though, is what he finds when he wakes up. He is being sucked on the foot by MIA. Consequently, Daniel becomes extremely scared and decides to bolt from the house immediately. MIA seems to have claimed the hand for herself after he departs, as she lights a candle in an effort to commune with her mother's spirit. When Mia's mom, Rhea, makes an appearance, she can't help but ask a glaring question. She wondered whether her mom overdosed accidentally or if she intentionally ended her own life. The ghost of her mother tells her that her mother would never have voluntarily abandoned MIA and that the incident was totally accidental. Next, Riley's spirit informs us that she is in excruciating pain and desperately needs medical attention at the hospital. Riley bites Jade despite her best efforts to help him. He's still under Riley's possession. After that, he loses his balance and hits his head on the bathroom wall before falling to the floor. He is being pursued by the demon that resides within him. Thankfully, though, the doctor steps in and takes charge. Move on to the following scene. With Daniel, Haley, and Joss by her side, MIA embarks on a mission to locate Cole, the first guy we laid eyes on in the prologue. After seeing Duckett commit suicide at the beginning, we find out that he gives Josh the hand. Cole confronts Joss next. He says that Joss invited his late brother Duckett to play the devil's hand too often. Cole continues by saying that the spirit's strength decreases as they remain in Riley for an extended period of time. Therefore, they should just wait it out. MIA is concerned that Riley's time is running out. Formulates a strategy. Riley will be forced to complete the game by her, as she believes they neglected to extinguish the candle while he was in control. So, she visits the hospital in hopes that the spirits will return Riley to her and help her find a solution to his disappearance. It falls flat, though. After coming to the conclusion that Riley's soul is captive in the spirit world, MIA makes the decision to venture there in search of Riley's soul. In an instant, a vision of a little girl appears to her, and she begs the girl to take Riley with her. Riley is being haunted by numerous other malevolent spirits in limbo, as the girl goes on to say that she lets MIA in. Upon regaining consciousness, she informs her companions that Riley will continue to be tormented by the spirits. Upon Mia's return home, her father Max approaches her and expresses his desire to disclose the truth regarding her mother's demise. He takes the time to explain that Raya's death was not accidental and shows her the suicide note, expressing his regret for not informing her sooner. MIA sees Ria's spirit in the room as she is devastated and sobbing. However, Mia's mother asserts that Max lied on the note and that the spirit is just trying to imitate him when she hears her father pounding on the door. Ria says Riley will only be saved if the boy dies, and the father is seen in the next room. At this point, her father Max's ghost has entered the room and is aggressively assaulting her. From across the room, the real Max hears the noise and notices that Mia's door is locked. To see how she is doing, he decides to force his way in. And right when MIA is about to stab the ghost that is pursuing her, a fatal scissors wound to her actual father's neck occurs as a result of her careless actions. Afterwards, MIA gives Jade a call and invites her to her house, explaining that she already knows what to do. She goes to see Riley at the hospital, but in the end, she tricks Jade into leaving. But then Sue, Jade's mom, shows up and says she's sorry for what she said earlier. While I'm nearly completely possessed by the demonic spirits, Sue assures MIA that Riley's misfortune was never her fault and lets me spend a moment alone with him. Because she thinks it will end in misery, MIA comes to believe that murdering Riley is her only option to save him. She then uses the same pair of scissors to try to murder Riley. However, she is unable to muster the courage to actually do it. Meanwhile, Jade contacts me because she can't locate her. However, she ends up finding her father in a critical condition. In a flash, Jade contacts emergency services and informs her mom that Riley is in danger from MIA. After that, Sue bolts for Riley's hospital room, only to find that her son is with MIA. Jade rushes after me as I push Riley in the wheelchair as soon as she gets back to the hospital. MIA intends to put an end to the boy's suffering by wheeling him to the shoulder of a busy highway. The image she has of him in her hallucination is that of a decaying ghost. Under Mia's breath, Ria's spirit tries to convince her to shove Riley into oncoming traffic by telling her that Riley is doing the right thing, and that she should be proud of herself. The approaching car crashes into an obstruction because she takes her hands off Riley's wheelchair. Following this, we see MIA sprawled out on the road, as if she were the one who was struck by the car and suffered serious injuries. After MIA comes to, she finds Jade tending to Riley on the side of the road. She ends herself in the emergency room out of nowhere. But it all looks very strange and out of the ordinary. Jade and Sue are accompanying Riley on her departure, and it seems like Riley has fully recovered. It appears that Max has also recovered from his injuries. MIA tries to keep up with them, but no one seems to be listening. Her cries for help go unheard as they all depart, leaving her to face the horror of being abandoned. Subsequently, she is confronted with utter darkness. She suddenly sees a tiny flash of light. I am intrigued. As she approaches it, she sees that it is actually a candle. And a hand is reaching out from it. This occurs as she reaches out to grasp the hand. At a party, she finds herself in an entirely different world. He mutters, "I'll let you in," as he stares at her in disbelief while holding her hand. MIA is now officially a player in the hand game. Once she passed away, though, she became the spirit. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you in the subsequent video.